Hey guys, working on some social distancing, of course. Just want to do some tips real quick. A lot of people don't like to talk about it. Of course, it's the things that makes us better at doing what we're doing. But I wish people would have taught me these little neat tricks with hot glue and foam building, armor building, EVA. For starters, I'd like to teach you about the hashtags. Use these a lot. So what these are for are basically to make sure that your pieces of armor are stuck together and they don't fall apart. People always forget these sort of things, and so what you want to do is, of course, when you have two pieces that need to be put together, you want to make sure they're glued properly. You take a piece of foam that you're going to use to glue to the other one and hashtag it. So all along the sides right here, let's say I want to hashtag all this right there because I want to glue it together. So kind of like chicken scratches all the way down. They don't have to be proper. They don't have to be actual hashtags. But you see those hashtags right there? That will allow the foam to actually seep in and bond to the material. And me as a youngin', I didn't really know what the fuck I was doing. So this really helps out. Seep it together, fuse it together. So now you see this one being hashtagged, down being hashtagged or whatever. Take your hot glue right along the line, a little bit towards the center. You don't want that to squish out too badly. And of course, carefully put it where you need it to be at. Align it all you need to, and you're good. Let it sit there for a few minutes, let it cool off, and you're awesome. Our next thing I wish people would have told me is how to properly make blades, edges. I didn't learn this until later, but let's say you want to make this look like a knife edge, like a blade of a sword. And so what people need to do is angle it towards the outside of where you're going to be cutting it, and try to do it all at one swift, clean cut. Try to remain at the same angle and cut that corner off. And no matter if you mess it up, you can go back with the Dremel kit, sand it down. But do that with every edge you want outwards for the blade. And you just keep going on that. So this is the outside, this is the inside. Cut that edge out at an angle. And slowly do it as much as you can. Careful not to cut yourself, of course. And when you're done, this should look somewhat like a blade. You see that? I didn't know that as a kid, as a young person working on cosplay. It really helps out when you want to make that look better, real. Another tip I wish people would have told me. Another thing is when you're trying to get stuff to bend and stick together, don't be afraid to go out of the way and use electric tape. People making stuff all the time. I wanted to get this to stick together, but I didn't want to sit there and hold it because I'm working on other projects. A good thing to do is while you're gluing it or whatever, take electric tape, and electric tape tends to pull itself. So tape one side, tape the other, and bond that down. And you can glue it together, and now the electric tape will do you the favor of holding it for you. And you can put it to both sides to keep it pressured perfectly. It's a great tool to do. I think it's awesome. Last but not least, of course, probably least, I don't care. Doing cool armor effects. Now let's say you got a plain piece of foam. You really want to look cool. I think it's really awesome. It's a really good technique for armor developers as well. So do the design you want with a blade. Don't cut deeply into it. Cut only enough to create the design you desire. So for me, I'm going to do a square and then do some mesh. Mesh is a good idea. So you see my square, just a little blade, little bit of cuts, not that deep, and let's just do the mesh. Try to do it symmetrical as possible. I am a hound for that. I try to do it. I mess up, or I'll make mistakes. It's whatever. Accept it. Go. Keep going. So I'm doing these lines right now, and I don't mess up because this is embarrassing, of course. But as you see, symmetry. Try to do as much as possible. And I feel like I wish I would have known this hard, dude, growing up, because I did so much dumb designs, and I messed up, and I could have done it better had I known this trick. Had someone just taught me this sort of thing. So let's just do this real quick here. Doing as much mess as possible. Mesh. So this is looking decent. It's going to look better when we're done. So this is my mesh so far. Right, you see that? So what we're going to do now is take a heat gun, careful, don't burn yourself, and apply that a little bit, and you're going to see it change. You can see it change on the camera. You see that little glow of gray turn darker, it's going to turn a little glazed. Going to get a little bit more glazed, it's going to help out. So you'll see them slowly open. You see that? The pieces of foam are splitting apart, creating that mesh look. And don't want to focus too much, you don't want to burn it. Don't hold it with your hands either, my fingertips actually hurt. So what this does is it creates a deep indentation in the armor, causing it to look real. And now we can go ahead and again warm it up. The temperature of this last trick, of course, is to keep it in shape of where you want it to be at. So right here, we bend it. I like to use different things to make it look real. Sometimes I'll use my elbow, my head if I have to, kind of keep that bend in there. And really mold it into what you want it to be. And so this is kind of where we apply all the rules together. We do all that bend, and then we're going to angle these a little bit so they fit together. So since I want them to be a cuff, I'm going to have to cut it down a little bit. So what I'm going to do here is angle it a little bit, cut that down right there again on this side. You see that angle right there? So now, applied all the techniques. We're going to take the blade, cut a little bit at the edge for bonding purposes. Hashtag it as I called it. And we're going to do that. And now, with little hashtags at the very tip, very edges of that, and make sure it's desired the way you want it to. I want to be a little bit more three-dimensional, 3D popped out more. So I'm going to go over it one more time. And then pop it out in the middle. Make it look like an actual bangle, as they call it. Bungle, whatever. So now you see a little bump in the middle. Kind of looks like a tire. Now, glue the edges. Right there. Maybe a little bit more, because I'm weird. So now, I don't want to hold it here forever myself manually. So what I'm going to do is take this and tape it. Of course, I don't want to have my mouth open, exposed and all that, because I look dumb. So, well, ready these real quick. So there's 1, 2. So now, these are glued, of course. Put that together. Tape the very edge of it as tight as possible so it holds together. And we're going to pressurize that. So now that it's pressurized, maybe get the middle a little bit more so there's no loose ends, and put that down. And for one last measure, let's hot glue the inside just in case. Fuck it, you know. So now it's cool enough. It's not completely a circle, but it's enough for you to squeeze your hand through. You want to leave a little leeway. But now we essentially have a little bangle of armor. See that? Makes it look a little bit more legit. You can now go paint it, harden it, do whatever you want to it, and apply the same techniques with everything else. It helps out. It's helped me out for a long time. A lot of the techniques I've done, I don't normally put them out there or talk about it often because a lot of the times I didn't have the material, the money, and it becomes a thing. So thank you for tuning in, guys. Y'all stay safe, stay quarantined. Don't let the government try to kill y'all. To all my minorities especially. People like us, they say we're poor. We can't afford the sicknesses, the cures, of course. So double time on those checks.